Welcome to Little Risk Big Fist, home of the hits you may have missed. In this episode, Austin Sawyer talks with us about his move to the Boro and the opportunities it bestowed. He shares with us some cool insight on the upcoming Drumming Bird album, the conception of Sawyer and Kimes, and so much more. Drumming Bird will be bringing you into this week's podcast with the upcoming single Holy Love, available on all streaming services Friday, December 7th. As always, we would love to give a special thanks to our sponsors, Shaw Audio and AMP Entertainment, for all their support. Little Risk Big Fist!
Money.
We're back.
We are back.
What's up, y'all?
Right now I'm trying to get my pop filter up.
We had to take a little potty break, get a little something to drink.
Yeah.
And
hydration.
Take some hold on. Okay, now people are gonna get so mad about that.
Hydration.
I got the video started now. We're good.
Cool.
We are back. Sup, dude?
Hey guys.
Hey,
dude. Saul, dude.
Hi again. So when we left, we had just played White Buffalo. Yeah.
There it is.
Money.
So you guys that are still unfamiliar and missed him explaining what White Buffalo is, give it a quick Googs. You'll find it on Urban Dictionary. You said
It's on there.
it's on there.
Swag.
Okay, so we kind of went through, obviously, what got you into music, your different stages in songwriting, your different bands that you become a part of. So since the first band, or the first version of Drumming Bird, like your high school years, has there been any bandmate adjustments, anything like that has changed in Drumming Bird, or?
Who'd you kick out?
You're kicked out.
Dude.
Just the guy who played bass with us. His name's Frazier, and he actually went to MTSU with me. But we just kind of went our separate ways when we started here, and then I wasn't like 100% sure like what the future of Drumming Bird was going to look like. So when we recorded the album at the studio, and Will that you met.
Yeah.
Who played bass? I got him.
Was
to
that the
play
same Will that played in high school?
In High Meadows Communion? Yeah.
Really?
So yeah, we just been longtime friends and just like clicked so well together, and that was different than pretty much any previous Drumming Bird experience because he was. I guess he's kind of creating the bass parts. For everything else, it was just like songs I had already recorded. Like the bass part, so it's just like learning that, and Will's just incredibly
really good.
He
makes a lot of noise when you record, but he's really good.
Oh, you just listen to the album, like some of the stuff like on Holy Love coming up, like that song, the bass when it gets loud in that song, he's just walking all over the place, which he's he like started playing music in a bluegrass band. Yeah. Back home called Mountain Cove, so there's like that influence with him. He also plays the fiddle, so I knew I was going to want that on the album. So it was just the pretty much obvious.
Is the same thing as a violin. Just depends on what genre. Did you know that?
It's a fiddle when you buy it, violin when you sell it.
Okay, I like that. That's cool. Yeah, that was very weird. I remember asking the guys in the studio. I was like, wait, isn't that a violin? They're like, the same thing, dude. I was like, I call myself an engineer. Okay. All right.
It all boils down to who's playing it.
Yeah. Yep. But, so Will, I want him to play because he is just great at
you and Frazier still homies or no?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, and then since then, Daniel Nunnally's played a little bass with us. Elijah Perrin's played a little bass with us.
Damn.
It's a revolving door of bassists, but
yeah. Where is Will? Is he still in chat? Is
yeah.
that where he lives?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he plays in a band called Moon Hollow. So
I really like that name.
Yeah,
as well.
It's a good
Y'all
name.
come up with some cool names down there.
Yeah,
I still need to come visit.
You do,
Dude. Chat is. I've heard it's kind of.
You still haven't been?
I've never been to chat.
Oh man, Christmas break. You should
Okay.
come visit.
Yeah, we could. I have the second week in. I wonder if you'll still be in school then. The second week of December.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. That would be. That would be fun though. That'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just difficult with my day job right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of that thing. So
That MF thing.
Soon,
MF thing.
Soon enough, man. Soon enough. But so that's basically the only thing that's changed with the band for the most part.
Yeah, and then just going forward, don't really know what the
They need a new
personnel
lead.
will look like. Excuse me. But my brother Daniel, he played drums, and he's got a big boy job over in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Congrats.
Yeah, but for that job, like for training, he's like in a different location for like 8 months at a time.
Oh wow.
So
Really?
he's moving again sometime in like February or March to
for more training or for the actual job?
Yeah, you do 3 8-month training cycles.
Oh my goodness.
So he's moving
that's
somewhere.
Engineering job.
Yeah.
Gee,
And then
Christmas.
And then Sam, so hopefully Sam will stay around the area. But
Sam,
oh,
boy, he's a character.
He's a goon.
Man.
I don't know if I've met.
You'd
Sam.
remember if you met Sam. He's funny as hell. I know why those two are friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's
we
cool.
goon.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Goons out here.
in a perfect world, it'd be cool to play with those 3 guys.
Yeah.
But you know, life happens.
Yeah.
So what's it like with having a family member in the band? Has that been any different, you think, than it would have been if it were just friends or acquaintances?
We operate on the same wavelength.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty
and
hardcore.
Yeah.
There's one time we were just jamming and we just finished a song and like both ended on G, and then without even saying anything, we both went into All the Small Things by Blink-182.
Oh my god.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Y'all both had Blink influences.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dad.
Yeah, we
Dad was always blinking.
both. Yeah, we listen to Daniel and I listen to the same music coming up, but yeah, that was just like a moment we like both did that. And we're like, oh,
We're perfect. We gotta make
telephonesis.
What'd you just say?
Telephonesis. I know it's telekinesis, guys. Come on. I know.
I like it. I
I
like
get
it.
it.
But
That's
I'm
funny.
surprised we don't have that yet. You know?
yeah, I know.
They do. They just don't tell us.
You're right. You're right.
You gotta have.
Is
You gotta have.
this about to turn to InfoWars?
Yes.
Dude, that guy didn't he get taken off YouTube?
Yep, he did.
It's
I'm
because the
pretty sure he
Sandy
did.
is because the Sandy Hook stuff.
I don't know why, and I don't know. I'm not
He said some
insane.
foul stuff about some,
always been saying some foul stuff.
it was about it had to do with kids, and like he totally got taken off. Like
Wow.
that guy's nuts.
Another thing that kind of tickled my brain. I'm curious, since you're the songwriter for Drumming Bird, I'm curious if you've ever had a situation where a bandmate suggested like maybe a lyric change or maybe even like a whole song section change or anything like that.
Not really, because it's not like the song creation process isn't like super involved just because of the nature of the band. Us like not, I guess, like living together or like creating together. It's more of at this point it's just kind of they're the hired hands backing band, which I would love for it to be a more kind of group creation effort, but obviously because of circumstance it can't be that way. But that's kind of why I love having those 3 guys play on the album, because I've just played with them long enough. They kind of like know
They
what
get it. Yeah,
they get what I'm and I like don't have to to a certain extent, don't have to. It's a matter of like telling them like where to play and stuff like that, and
you can kind of trust them to.
Yeah, whatever they play,
Yeah,
I'm good with. But
that makes that saves you so much time.
It does.
So
Absolutely.
much time and effort.
That's like the biggest fear of entering a new project, just like not operating on the same wavelength as other group members. But I will say when we were recording it, the guy who co-produced the album with me, his name's Charlie Kelly. He's a friend of my grandpa's, older guy, but he had some suggested changes to some of the songs, which ended up being great suggestions. But that's about it.
Have you sent them stuff?
Yeah, he's seen it all. Or
What's he think?
Heard it all. Yeah, he really liked it. I'll
Cool.
show you his email afterwards. But yeah.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys. It
Support.
was Charlie
And Jim.
Jim.
Both dogs.
Dog.
Dude, they were cool. Their studio's nice. Who owned the studio?
I
you know?
forget the guy's name, but he...
Oh, so it wasn't theirs.
No.
It was a rented space.
Yeah, Charlie was the producer and Jim was the hired engineer.
It was really cool. It was just like off the beaten path.
It's called Watershed, and it's just like 5 miles south of Nashville, and just a house that didn't look like much from the outside, and you go in, it's just this...
It was like front part house and then back part studio.
Yeah.
And it was, but in the studio, they had a kitchen. Like, not in the studio, but like off to the side, there was a kitchen area and like an area to sit and like have lunch or whatever.
Was there a refrigerator?
There's a refrigerator, there's a coffee machine, food.
Yeah, it is.
And then there's a couple extra rooms for like storage and stuff, and then there's a bathroom, and it was nice. It was a nice spot.
Wish I had more time.
Right. Dude, okay, speaking of, y'all crammed that album in quick.
Yeah.
Like, you had, it was supposed to be 2 8-hour sessions, right? Isn't that what it was? Or did I miss part of it? It was 2 8-hour sessions, and one of them, and then in the 8-hour sessions, you guys took lunch at 4 hours. And then
I think
it
might have been 6.
6
I thought there
hour
were
sections?
8 because it was 4 and 4. And then the second day, y'all were gonna do the last 4 hours, and then he was like, "Do you want to add an hour?"
Yeah, it
And
might
we'll
have
get
been.
another
It might have
song
been.
in.
It might have been 8 each day.
Because 12, yeah, I thought it was like 16. It was like pretty much 17 hours total that you guys recorded the whole album.
Yeah, back in January 2018.
Wow.
And then
Coming up on
transferred all the files to my hard
anniversary.
drive, and then we took it from there, and then I finished it. I think I finished it in my kitchen on some headphones. To be honest with you, I mixed everything in the old studio.
Some
and
skull candies.
What's up?
Some skull candies. Mixed it on some skull candies.
Some earbuds, yeah.
Oh my god.
No, dude. I finished. So I was getting ready to move as I was finishing it, and then my ears were used to the old studio, and I was like, man, I can't. And then, of course, in breaking down the studio, and then trying to set this one up that we have now, and then also getting my ear used to it, I was like, no way. Like, I got to finish the studio. I damn near killed myself over that, just because I was like, I got to get this done now, like here. And then I'm mastering. I have my own way of mastering, and that I was able to finish here at the house, but I didn't at the new place, and I wasn't set up here at all, and I don't even think I had pads up.
No,
I didn't have acoustic panels up or anything. And
I think more or less the gear was just in this room.
Yeah, the stuff wasn't even plugged in. And I took the computer down to the kitchen and set the TV up, and these headphones, I'm pretty decent on these headphones, I'd say. And in mastering, like I said, I have my own. I don't know, maybe other people, this could be coming from ignorance, to be honest, but I am the firm believer in, if you get the mix right, the master shouldn't be too difficult to do. And you were basically with me. I like how we did it, and you put, which I want to say I really appreciate, you put a lot of effort into making sure that you were there while I was doing all the mixing, even though I know that that's kind of sucks sometimes for you.
I applaud you for that as well, just because
he spent a lot of time at the house.
It can be, and people don't
So
ever think
monotonous.
about this. People don't ever think about this, especially if they're not in tune with like how the recording process works, and then after everything's tracked. But like you can get hearing fatigue really quickly when you're hearing the same things repetitively,
or just sick of the songs. Like, some people just get sick of hearing, or just sick of that process. Like, there was some day, like there were some days that you were over and you were just like I could tell that it wasn't like you didn't want to be there, but it was just like, man, like this takes a while, and you just hang out, like you just like, you know, lay on the floor. Which I have a picture of you on my Instagram of.
Double chin.
Sorry, I didn't mean to flex on you. But yeah, it was a good process, because then
both of our first kind of real deal album efforts.
Actually, 100%. And the way that you gave me critiques on mixing was exactly what I wanted. You knew when to speak up and when not to. Like, you knew when I was like kind of working on something, or if I was working towards what you wanted, or you knew also when I was kind of just trying to get the basis of how we wanted it to, getting it to sound decent, like getting the guitar to sound okay in general, and then you're like, hey, I want this to actually sound specifically like this, and then you give me a reference song, or you just explain it and say, hey, I want you to add this, and then what was really cool is then you start to learn what I used and the effects that I would apply, or a certain reverb or something, and you'd be like, hey, remember what you did on this? I want this on that one, or kind of like that, which made it really nice for me, because guessing when people are, and I've recently read, because I'm trying to get some contracts together and stuff, because I'm doing a lot more work, and like I've seen some people do like on a work for hire, which is essentially what I was. What people do, it's X amount, or it's I'm gonna do, like, you're hiring me to do a mix, and then you get 2 mix revisions. Like, that's what some people do on their contracts. And I've thought about that, but like, I don't. First off, I want everybody to be happy with the work that they get, and second off, like, putting you on that kind of like constraint is just, I don't think it's fair. Like,
and
in my opinion,
and I don't know if it necessarily builds the best relationship when you're like,
absolutely,
hey buddy,
not.
This is all you got. Because like, as far as, and I feel like what we're talking about applies to like all fields of like creative services. So like when I do graphic design,
do graphics,
I always tell people like, listen, you get revisions until you're 100% happy, because if I'm taking someone's money, I want to make sure.
Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, it is. It's a bitch.
It is.
It is a bitch.
But it's part of it.
But if you want to be proud of your work,
then
and you want somebody to brag about, like, hey, this guy did my work. And it's not even about that necessarily. You just want them to be happy with what they have, because they're spending all the time and money. Like, you spent hours at my house and paid me hundreds of dollars, and then why would I want you to be like, it's all right. Like, here's my album. Like, I want you to be proud of it. I want you to be happy. And at the end of the day, whatever you have, same for you doing graphics, that once it's done, it's done. That's it. Lasts forever. And especially for music, like, it's out. And when people hear it, they're not going to hear another version. Yeah. And if they hear one version that they don't like, they're not going to listen to another version. So, I think it's
that's a good point.
I think it's like, you'd be like, oh, I got this remixed. Like, nobody's gonna care. Like, so I don't know. I think that's mad important. So like, I really like the way that we worked, and that's one of the things that I've always really focused on when working with people is over time, like, you build that's why we became homies. Yeah, because you spent a lot of time with me at the house to make sure that the record was what you wanted, and over time that built a relationship. Then that builds, like, this podcast wouldn't be anything compared to what it is now if it weren't for all the time that we spent
Right.
together. You know what I mean? Like you coming and randomly showing up with pizza when we were going to do a studio session and be like, hey, you guys want to eat? Like, or you know what I mean? Just random stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like it matters. Like
It does.
And when people get into this, sorry, I'm kind of being long-winded on this, but I feel like it's very important because a lot of people, especially people that want to be engineers or producers or graphic designers, like they think that, or photographers or anything
Any
like
creative,
that. Like
yeah.
a lot of people think that you can do it and just be like, okay, I provided this service for you. That's it. It's not like that, especially if you want to get any more work.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't recommend me to anybody if I was like, hey, you get 2 mixed revisions. Like you'd be like, dude, like don't go to that guy, you know, which
Yeah.
rightfully so. But yeah, I just think that's important. It's very overlooked, I feel like, in the creative field. Would you agree, Dusty?
I would say.
It's harder for you to build, I feel like gosh, I can't imagine somebody being over your shoulder while you're doing Photoshop.
See, and that's something that, okay, so I know that's why I was commending him on like as far as being able to sit through those mixing sessions, because a lot of people who are at the request of a creative service, they don't understand, like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I would compare it to like cleaning my room. I have to make it a mess before I can get it clean. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I kind of sometimes take that approach with graphic design. Like there's things that I'm doing that look questionable that they wouldn't understand just because they don't know what goes into creating that finished product. And a lot of times if they're sitting over your shoulder, people don't understand. They're like reiterating over and over again what they told me in the first place, and while I'm going through that process to get to that step they wanted, it's just harder for them to see it because I'm using tools that they have no comprehension of.
Especially today when we have some very unconventional ways of going about some of the things that we do. Like I imagine, I don't imagine, I know for sure that there's a lot of mixes that, or a lot of things that I do with mixing that a professional or somebody that's been doing it for 30 years would be like, yo, don't do that like that. Like, you know, but that's how I do it. And like, I achieved the sound that you wanted. So that's what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And part of me being there it wasn't that like, I didn't trust you could get the sound I wanted. I just didn't want you to like start down a rabbit hole and working on something and then send me that mix and be like, no, like go back.
Yeah.
I rather.
And it's
Nip
much
it in the
harder.
bud, yeah.
It's much harder to communicate. Like, and doing graphic design stuff, like, you know, you just have people that'll reach out to you through email or text, and then your whole experience is gone through nothing but like a tangible text.
Yeah.
And it just like, one, there's no emotion behind things, so you can't necessarily gauge what they're saying as you would in person. But two, like there's just things that you can't explain through that type of medium, and it can be difficult if you're relying on methods like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
So let's go. We kind of went through like a lot of like the creation of like where you are now. So like in recent years, like since you went to MTSU, what are some of the opportunities that have kind of came out of your experience while here?
Yeah, so like my first year at MTSU, which I guess oh, sorry. I thought I someone getting a call or something.
I don't know where that buzz is coming from. It must
Might
be a
be
drumming.
mine.
Must be a drumming bird.
Must be a wild drumming bird. But first year I didn't really do much.
As a lot of people do. It's a weird time.
It is a weird time. I was also in a long distance relationship, so I didn't like.
Were you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From chat?
Yeah, a girl I dated in high school. We were still dating at that time, so I didn't like, because of that, I didn't like get super plugged in on campus, and I was like kind of in a funk as far as being involved on campus. But I met like one of the first people I met at MTSU was Daniel Nunnally.
Yeah,
that was back when he had his little short hair.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, dude, so weird.
Yeah. Back when.
I can't.
Before he looked,
like
like John Denver, like he does now. But
Or Alan
so
Stone, his cousin.
yeah, we met at like a Young Life thing, and then kind of that was like first week of school, and then like kind of hung out and kicked it, a little bit that first semester, but I just like didn't really get super involved. And then second semester, I started playing more at the Starbucks thing on campus.
They used to have those open mics.
Open mics.
Do they still do that, or is that?
They do it in the student union now.
Okay.
But so that was just like a cool like creative hub, because up until that point it was just like me sitting in my dorm like playing music, and I was always bummed out about that, because music, it's such a communal experience, and it's so much better when you have people around you. So I was just kind of down about music at that point. And then playing more at the Starbucks, it kind of like because Daniel played there a lot, so it kind of got us hanging and talking again. That's where I met Chloe for the first time.
Chloe Kimes.
Yeah, Chloe Kimes, who, for those of you who don't know, we are now bandmates. But I remember I heard Chloe playing. I was just like blown away.
Right.
As is everyone the first time they hear Chloe. She was playing this.
How does that sound come out of that head? That's what I think. Whenever I hear her belt, I'm just like, how does a human produce that sound?
It's very unique.
Powerful.
And I don't know if I've ever heard Control like that, as far as like those nuances that she's
got her own sound, man.
Absolutely.
She's killer.
So she was playing this song. It's an old one of hers called Abby. I don't know if you guys have ever.
What is it?
It's called Abby.
Huh.
It's about one of her old friends back home. But I just heard that song, and I was just like, I like vividly remember it. I was like standing in the back of the Starbucks, and I was like, holy shit! Like that was like the first one like song I'd heard at the open mic. It was like 4 or 5 weeks in that like kind of like stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
And I was like, like blown away by it. So,
and did that encourage you to like, I want to go home and write?
Yeah, it's one of those experiences, but didn't really get to know Chloe at that point. We were kind of acquaintances, through Daniel, and then we wrote spring of first year on campus. Dan and Sebastian and I wrote "Put Me in the Ground," which introduced me to you, and then kind of as a result, kind of got me more involved with AMP, and then that's when I really started to like.
Shout out to our sponsor, AMP Entertainment.
Shout out to AMP Entertainment.
Shut up.
Did you say shut up?
Money. But then so I Chloe with Daniel's doing the Put Me in the Ground release show back in fall 2017, and we were practicing in my house. I remember Chloe came over, and we like didn't like really know each other, and we were just like
so y'all didn't know each other up until that point?
We were acquaintances.
You were acquainted, but like you weren't like.
No, we so
that's crazy. That's crazy.
We were just like sitting in my room, and and it was the same day that parking tweet.
Oh shit! That's
so
crazy.
I was like, well, all right, Twitter famous today.
Did you say that?
Yeah. That's what we were talking about. Yeah,
I love it.
And then, so we started. We were practicing for that show, and then one day I wrote "Great Smoky Love," and then I was still kind of acquaintances with Chloe at that point. I was like, I have this song, and I think it'd sound really good if you sang on it. And so we met up one night in the BAS courtyard and practiced through, and she's like, this song is like really good.
Yeah,
and then,
it is.
And then, have I ever played you like that first voice memo of that song?
No.
Well, it's kind of trash now that we've heard the produced thing. But
I remember the first time you guys brought that into Amp Rights, and I was
you
blown
came home
away.
and told me about it.
Yeah,
I remember that. He came home and he's
told-
like, yo, Austin and Chloe played the song tonight that was like really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah.
That was kind of definitely a definitive song for me. I remember I had that voice memo, and then I like drove home.
Is it you?
I think it's in my jacket over there.
Okay.
But I drove home that weekend, and it's like a 2-hour drive home, and I like listened to that voice memo like over and over and over again. There's just like, I don't know, something special about that song.
Yeah.
And that And then Chloe and I played some shows with Daniel out in West Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we'd written together once before that show. We wrote a song. So I asked her to sing on Great Smoky Love, and then we wrote a song together called Holiday Gifts, which is a Sawyer and Kimes song that we do. And then we wrote again on that excursion, which was like, I guess a little over a year ago now. And then,
Damn, that's crazy.
I know, time's flying.
Yeah.
And then I went home, I think for Thanksgiving, and I wrote like 2 more songs. And I'm like, these should be Sawyer and Kimes songs. So,
And how did you make that distinction?
Damn good question.
I don't. Even today, it's like
The feeling.
Yeah, it's just like, is this like, would this song benefit from like a grandiose production, or is it just, or is the song itself kind of what draws people in?
Yeah.
And so usually I'll stick with the songs that would sound, because like when we perform, it's just 2 of us guitar, and she plays guitar and mandolin and stuff. So I think if a song can hold its own with just that instrumentation, I lean more towards
Sawyer
making
Kimes.
a Sawyer and Kimes song. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So when did y'all first talk about like, hey, maybe we should do
Was
this
at
thing?
that point? Was it just like 2 friends playing songs, or was it Sawyer and Kimes at that point? Or
it was about those cabin shows we played.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because y'all were
those
spending a
shows
lot of time.
Yeah, well, so Daniel like drove out there ahead of time. So Chloe and I, still pretty much acquaintances at this point, had a 3-hour drive out to West Tennessee. So we got to know each other through that, and then we played those 2 shows, and then rode back together.
Right.
And then we were like, we should do this thing.
Yeah.
And then
So on the drive back from West Tennessee is when y'all were
we
kind of
when we first started talking about it.
That's awesome.
And then she was on board with it, and then I remember we met up in Starbucks, and like this is probably like a week before it, we were trying to think of a band name. And we were just like shooting names back and forth, and I'd have like a name that I was like,
Give me one crazy.
I was like, we're going by
I know there's a good one in there. I know it. Can't remember any of them. It's all good.
Yeah, they're all very granola sounding names.
Yeah.
Just from the nature
Yeah,
of our
yeah.
music.
Yeah.
I just learned that term, I don't know, not too long ago. Someone was describing someone as granola, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah. But excuse me. But yeah, so we just like couldn't agree on a name, and you're like,
Yeah.
we both have pretty strong last names. We'll just go with that.
Yeah. I think that's, honestly, I think that's the best name y'all could have came up with. I think it's very fitting, because you both obviously have your own solo things, and like you have Drumming Bird, and then she is Chloe Kimes, you know, and I just feel like Sawyer Kimes. That's, I don't know. I just feel like it sounds good.
Yeah. And we did it in that order, not because of sexism or anything,
Yes.
but the one syllable name sounded better at the end. We decided,
Yeah, it makes sense.
like Mumford and Sons.
Sawyer Kimes.
Sawyer Kimes.
I couldn't.
Kimes and Sawyer. It just doesn't have the same ring to it,
It
you know?
doesn't. It
Doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
Feels like more of a
But-
mouthful that way.
Yeah. Kimes and Sawyer.
Sawyer.
Sawyer. Just like lawyer.
Yeah.
See, him and I have had this forever. I'm like, why do you say it like that? He's like, because that's how you say it,
That's how you spell it too.
dude.
If so,
I can't read.
so
okay?
if you like steal something from a store, are you breaking the law?
That's
No,
a
dude, you're breaking
very
the
good.
law,
I've
dude.
never heard it put that way, but he got you.
Listen, dude.
Got
That's
him.
not cool. That's not cool. That's-
Exposed.
Gosh dang it.
So when you're like,
That was good.
when you're like, you know, giving someone some like trouble? Just are you?
Oh, you're gonna come in on this too?
Are you?
Chime in on
Are you?
this too?
Are you egging them on? Or are you egging?
You're
Back
egging
to-
them on, dude.
It's all full circle back to the
Dude,
egg.
you're egging them on.
Okay, so
Look what you started.
Sorry.
so also I know you're affiliated with a fraternity, correct?
Yeah.
Are you? Is
Right,
that
God.
still something you're a part of?
Yeah, it's I'm graduating, coming up soon, so not like
When are you graduating?
August.
Okay.
So, my time is coming to a close with that. But
You're
yeah,
gonna
that's
do the
been
summer thing.
Funny. Yeah. doing
Did you
some
have
summer
like
classes?
a leadership
Boy.
role in?
I was president this past year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
So that was
That's
a
what I
cool
thought.
Experience.
what's it like being a president of a fraternity? Is it?
A lot of work.
Yeah, I would
you're-
imagine.
Damn, Prez.
Yeah, well, we were on the smaller one. My first semester on campus, like it's Lambda Chi Alpha is a fraternity name, and we were like just getting started. So I thought that was a cool opportunity to be a
Yeah, and definitely.
founding member of it. So
and it
Yeah.
plays great
Um,
on a resume.
yeah, absolutely. But it's
Yeah.
been a whole lot of work trying to like basically start something from the ground up, especially
Yeah.
when you have competition of other groups that have been on campus for like 60 years.
Right, but you've had
Um,
you've had experience with starting up a band from the ground up.
Exactly.
And
And
Wow, yeah, that's
this-
a good point.
in bringing that up, for one of my classes, I recently interviewed a guy who's vice president of A&R for Sony Masterworks.
okay,
So that's like Sony's classical division. So he does like Yo-Yo Ma is like his music. But anyway, I was talking to him about it for a class, and he said like the best thing someone can do that's wanting to go in the industry is start something, because that like shows initiative and like really demonstrates your creativity. So I thought that was really cool, and
yeah,
You got a
obviously.
little proud.
Well, yeah, but
I
like
would. That's-
obviously you
yeah.
guys are go-getters with podcasts
Yeah.
and your design work, your music, songwriting. It's
yeah.
so I think that's the best trait someone can have. I definitely agreed with
That's a
him
good
about
point.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have anything. You don't have anything to really rely on
Right.
at that point. Like it's like you're either gonna do it or it's not gonna get done.
Yeah, you're doing the legwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you also had an internship as well.
Yeah.
Tell us what that internship is, and just a little bit of what you got to do, and some opportunities that also came out of that internship.
So I interned at the Americana Music Association down in Franklin, Tennessee. Beautiful Franklin, Tennessee. The rolling hills.
is.
The rolling hills of Franklin, Tennessee. But so I did that this past summer, and didn't really know what I was getting into when I honestly had not planned on doing an internship, but it just worked out. I kind of planned on just going back to Chattanooga for the summer,
Yeah.
but it just worked out. My lease didn't expire till July, so figured I'd get some internship hours while I was still living in Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So that it started off as just doing like 2 days a week driving to Franklin, and then about halfway through they like hired me on and started kind of contracted labor sort of deal. So they
Yeah.
started like paying me, but I was going there like 4 days a week, and then leading up to the festival, which is the Americana Fest, is their big festival they plan. I was like working there all the time from
Yeah.
like 10 in the morning to 10 at night.
It was like half internship,
sometimes.
half job, right?
Yeah,
At that
it
time, that's
developed
what it built up to?
into a job there at the end. But that was just like just a cool experience, just being involved around that. It was definitely kind of like once it was done is like shit, like what do I do with all this time? Because like for that month prior to it, I basically lived there and was just
Right.
sleeping at home. But
I would. Yeah.
Hey, can I use y'all's shower? Like,
no, I stay with my mom's friends in Franklin sometime.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to save the
Yeah.
gas sometimes. But it was cool. I did a lot of learned a lot about like logistics and event planning from that.
Yeah.
And sent a lot of emails, but it was cool. I was like contacting, artist representatives
Learn that
and
email etiquette.
stuff like that. There's one day I had to send like 400 emails.
That's
That was-
insane.
One day.
yeah.
Bless.
That's insane.
Bless.
Most of the time there's like software. You just clicked a button and it like drew from a database. But one day it was like wasn't working, so I had to type them all out.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was
But those
a
fingers were
rough
sore.
day. But it's in like an insanely connected office, and then the festival itself was incredible. Got to about halfway through, they kind of learned I was a
drumming bird?
musician, yeah. And then the festival, or the woman who books the festival, Sarah, she just kind of took an interest in me and my music, and sent her the album. She was very complimentary of it, and even gave us a slot to perform at the festival.
And I think that's so awesome.
So sick.
yeah,
that is so
it was.
awesome.
Dude, I didn't know until like day of, and I was like, I think he told me. And I was like, he's playing at Americana Fest? Are you serious?
Yeah,
like
it was awesome.
that was cool. So I never actually. I think I asked you like briefly, but how did that go? Like, how was it a good experience?
Yeah, probably one of my favorite shows
Good.
I've ever played. And just because of the nature of the festival, people are out, looking for new music to discover. So
Yeah.
we're playing at the 5 spot in East Nashville, and probably had like at least 100 people there. So
Nice.
yeah, great.
And the
Great exposure.
Yeah, and just out of the norm from
Yeah.
playing for like 4 people usually.
and the Americana crowd is very immersive in the music that they choose to listen to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they will dive into your stuff.
And they're the crowd that'll like still buy CDs even.
Yeah.
You ain't kidding. So like I want to ask, like, since you said that you didn't really plan on doing an internship, how did you like, was this a thing that you found out through other people or connections that you had that this was available, or were you like, nah, I might as well just kind of see what's on the plate, like what I could do?
So
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because usually, like, for people that don't know, like, you have like a database essentially of like where you can choose to send emails to and say like, hey, I'm a student, like, I want to work for free, like that's how it works.
Actually, you're kind of paying them to work because
Yeah,
you're paying
you-
for the college
legit.
credit.
Yeah.
You're paying for the job.
basically. But so during Americana Fest, they do an award show, the Americana Honors and Award Show. So MTSU students every year go as seat fillers to that award
Is
show.
it the Americana Music Awards?
Yeah, it's at the Ryman. So they get like 50 MTSU students to go seat fillers.
Yeah.
So freshman year, I did that. Sophomore year, I actually got to work the red carpet at that event.
I bet that was awesome.
That was really cool. Just being like seeing all these
Yeah.
cool artists just
Rubbing
walk
that
by.
velvet.
Money. Yes, sir. And then, so through that, I kind of knew it was just like an organization. I was
That you're
about
interested
what they
in.
were about.
Okay, so you get your
And
feet
then-
wet a little bit in that field.
And then they did a career or like an internship fair on campus, and I talked to the guy who was
He used to be, didn't he used to be sit in the advisor office?
Right,
He was
yeah.
like the receptionist.
his name's Brian.
Yeah.
He used to work in the. Excuse me, thought I was gonna burp. He used to work like in the advising office,
Leave
and
it
then
to a bird to burp, chirp, burp.
there's something in my
Sorry.
throat that's a brewing. But then Beverly Keel got him that job at Americana.
Okay.
Or like recommended him.
The lovely Beverly.
Yeah. Oh, love
She's
my
a
life.
plug.
Truly.
Truly, yeah.
But so yeah, so Brian, he was an MTSU alum. He was kind of like my supervisor over the summer, so we got super close. But he was at the internship fair, and he was in charge of the red carpet thing I did. So I like recognized him from that, kind of told him about that, got an interview lined up, and then they're like basically like can you work like all the time over the summer? And I was like, I guess.
Can you move in, dude?
Yeah, and they like just hired me on the spot for the internship.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
that's how you fit. It wasn't like, I'm gonna see what's available for internships.
Yeah, I
You
had
kinda
a
like,
bit of a prior connection, knew
Yeah.
kind of what they were about.
so you're like, this is worth doing an internship for.
Right.
Like if you wouldn't have had that connection, you probably wouldn't have done an internship.
Yeah, did no clue the depth and the breadth of the work I would be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what all, aside from sending emails, what all did you what did you get into? What were you doing?
So logistic stuff, I was like helping finding parking for volunteers was a
Making
task
sure
of
people
mine.
had what they needed.
Yeah.
People that were coming.
Right.
Okay.
And the emails, I like send the emails out and then kind of manage that data that came in. So
Okay.
so Americana Fest, there are like close to 300 artists that perform throughout the week,
Yeah.
throughout Nashville.
It's massive.
So we have to, and they use like over 30 venues in the
So
city.
that's how it's set up.
Yeah.
'Cause, I didn't get to go, so it's like not a
Right, it's not like a
central
big old
location.
field. It's not like a Bonnaroo type of deal. So
Okay.
it's like spread throughout Nashville, and they
That's
have
dope.
yeah. So
I
had
did not
to-
know that.
Yeah, but that just like exponentially increases the amount of people you have to coordinate
Yeah,
with,
absolutely.
because you have to
And all the different parking.
right,
Yeah, and
right,
it's in Nashville.
right. You gotta,
God.
but you gotta talk
Damn.
with venue owners, and then you have a stage manager each night, and then you have a sound person, and then that's in like
Yeah. Which
20,
is
30
that's-
different venues.
which is
Yeah.
all great experience
It's like
for
5 times 30. That's all the people that
yeah.
specific, that you have to, and then there's
And
always
then
extra people.
on top of
to
that, you have the
contact.
300 artists playing. You have to manage like their stage plots, like
Wow.
get those organized.
That's good
and-
experience for you though.
Now, did you have to like send back and forth any like writers or anything like that, or did you deal with those?
Or is that even a thing? Or
Basically, they're
I guess it
unless
wouldn't
you're
be
like a
thing.
super top tier
Like, yeah.
artist, your writers
Useless.
kind of
you're
BS.
getting some waters.
Yeah, pretty much everyone just played a 45-minute set.
It's a drinking fountain out back. You can
Yeah, everyone played a 45-minute set, and they all used the same back line.
So you got to
Okay.
play a 45-minute set.
Yeah. hmm
That's
Nice.
awesome.
But yeah, also, and going back to the responsibilities, I helped kind of the festival producer order the back line and like figure out. So that was a pretty crazy process, ordering back line for like all those different venues. Let's see, what else did I do? Picked up lunch every now and then.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, of
the
course.
Man,
typical
that's
intern stuff.
like why I didn't do an internship.
Yeah, I feel like
because most of them, and you know this too. Most of them are that,
especially
Most of the bigger companies.
especially audio,
but
dudes.
especially audio. Yeah, I mean, they're
Gosh,
not
I
letting
get
you
it
touch the board.
worst. No, but like, I mean, I get it to a degree, but like, what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
why do you even have me there? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't do an internship. And I had a buddy that interned at Blackbird, and ended up having a couple friends that interned at Blackbird. And every once in a while, they got a chance to work in the studio, and it was through like winning a mixing. My buddy G, he won a mixing competition at Blackbird, so
Yeah.
they had a competition at Blackbird for the interns. And then if you won that, then you got a session there. So he was an artist, so he wanted to do a session
Right.
there. So guess who came to engineer? Me. So like I didn't even have to do the internship, and I got to work in Studio A where Asia by Steely Dan was recorded
Shoot.
in Blackbird in Nashville. Didn't have to do anything for it.
Yeah.
I just, well, I mean, I did my own, I did
Made
my
a friend.
right. Well, I did my own thing. You know, like that's kind of why I pursued my own thing, which is, I mean, I imagine one of the reasons that you were going to just continue to do your own thing rather than do an internship. Like,
Yeah.
unless it was really worth it for you, you got an opportunity that was really worth it.
Yeah.
Now, refresh my memory. Was this where the podcast that you came to help
That's
with
that's
came
a,
into
that's
play? Or
a
is that another thing?
different thing. Yeah.
Okay. Which I guess you could tell a little bit about
Yeah. So that's
as well.
a connection.
He's been giving us some pro tips on our podcast.
I'm a social media director for the podcast, so. But so Dr. Ben Sawyer, who's no relation to me, he's my dad.
Not really though.
But yeah, he's a history professor at MTSU, and I first encountered him
Through
or
history class.
no. So I was just obviously crazy about the band, the Avett Brothers, and then a friend of mine freshman year told me he had a professor who hosts a podcast with a member of the Avett Brothers, Bob Crawford. So I was like, oh no way, that's absolutely insane. So I found Dr. Sawyer's email, and I'm like, hey, I've been checking out y'all's podcast. I love it. Also a huge fan of the band. It's basically just kind of letting
like, hey,
him
I
know
love
I was
you.
there, just reaching out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, Dr. Sawyer's like the coolest guy in the world. But he replied to me and told me about a live event they're doing on campus where like their the co-host Bob from the Avery Brothers actually like coming to campus and they were recording with the guests. I was like,
Were they doing a live
word?
podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So they like, so I like went to that event on campus, and that's where I like first met him, and I also got to meet Bob at that event, which is like
That's cool.
so
Awesome,
super
yeah.
super
Were
awesome.
you like,
yeah, no, I like.
did you,
I
like geek out? Did you wear an Avery Brothers shirt?
No, but like I didn't want to. You know, I was
You
there.
didn't want to fanboy
I was
it?
there for
Yeah.
the podcast, but I did bring a poster and got him to sign it. Like,
I don't blame you, bro. I wouldn't even
yeah,
have
so
to.
that was insane. And then I took Dr. Sawyer for history class that next semester, and then
Smart play.
yeah, I mean,
But plus,
also,
you like the guy.
yeah.
like, it's
Also,
not
he's like, I would recommend anyone take him for history class
just a good teacher in
because
general.
it was history 1, which is like Revolutionary War, which
Yeah.
is just like snooze. But he, like, I like look forward to that class like every
No
single
kidding.
day. Yeah, he's
Somebody that can make history, that part of history, interesting. Well, I'd say history in general for me, because I until now didn't have an appreciation for it, but that's hard to make interesting, especially
Yeah.
the kids.
but he also does like stand up comedy on the
Yes.
side.
Does
so,
he really?
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so he's in the Nashville comedy scene, but he brought elements of that to his teaching class,
Yeah.
which made it enjoyable.
Right up your alley.
And then also we needed a new faculty advisor for our fraternity, so I asked him if he wanted to do that. So just kind of through that established a relationship with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And it just goes to
Um,
show you the power connections can play.
Well, yeah, but it's just
Even though
And
I know
on
it's
the
not
on
about
that note,
but
on that note, like the most important part, I think, is that you were working hard, doing
Yeah,
things
yeah.
on your own. Like it's not like you were just like, hey,
hand me
can
a
I
bone.
right? Can I do this or can I participate in whatever you have going on? You were already working hard at multiple different
right.
things.
And I was also in his class, so he could.
Yeah, he could tell if you were actually working or not.
Yeah. So
So then through that, all those things build up, and then it's like, okay, that's why he would even consider anything else.
yeah, and then so spring semester came around, and then we just maintained a relationship just through the fraternity being our faculty advisor involvement. And then just kind of out of the blue, he asked me about running the social media for the podcast.
Just out of nowhere.
Back in May, he's like, do you have any experience with that? And I did.
I'm Twitter famous, dude.
Well, yeah, obviously. But no, back in the summer of 2017, I worked at a summer camp and was like media man there. So I did like photography and also ran the social media. So I had like some experience with it. And then so it wasn't a total lie when I said I had experience
Yeah.
doing it. And then
I remember when you told me you were going to do that. You were
Yeah.
like, dude, like,
I
kind of know what I'm doing, but I kind of don't. Like,
yeah, but I was super hype about it. So I just kind of took to the internet, learned all I could about
Mhm.
social media marketing, and I'm in a class for it now. So that's definitely
Are you online?
yeah.
What social media and e-commerce, or is it social media marketing?
digital marketing strategies.
Okay, I was just say, are we in the same class and don't know it?
say, are you doing an online class?
Yeah, I'm taking it's social media marketing and e-commerce.
Okay.
So I imagine you learn a lot of the
It's
same
probably
principles.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just been a cool experience. Just I don't know, being able to work with someone in your favorite band was just like
That's awesome.
It's like a sobering experience, just like
Yeah.
knowing you're in a little group message with them.
Yeah. And you're like,
Um,
no, that's really him. Like, we're homies, but that's him.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's
so,
cool.
But yeah, I've still been doing that, and that's
And
like I
that's still
said-
going on. That's a job.
Yeah.
That's
they
a job.
pay
That's
me.
separate from your internship.
Right.
Now, the internship, did that turn into a job? Is that over?
Is it kind of like a seasonal type?
Yeah, they really only have
Basically for
interns.
Americana Fest.
Yeah, they pretty much only have interns over the summer.
Okay.
Just
to prep
because
for the fest.
Because yeah, it's a team of 6 people that plan that
That's it.
festival. It's insane how much work they do and how much work they get done.
They
crazy.
probably save so much money and headache.
Yeah, no, because
doing it.
they're a not-for-profit organization, so like
Okay.
they're not like a bit like the
It's on
Americana.
Bonnaroo.
I mean, yeah, Americana Fest is their fundraiser, so they can do other stuff like advocating for and like bringing attention to Americana music.
Okay.
So so that's like another
the
reason.
Americana
yeah.
community is probably, I mean, I don't have a ton of, just from the outside looking in and the experience that I have with, or the bit of knowledge that I have about it is just like, it's a very like, it's a community based thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
yeah.
they're like you said earlier, they're gonna support you. If they support you like
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, recently something they did, they like put out a like map of a whole slew of venues across the country that like support like up and coming Americana acts. It's like suggesting for you to reach out to if you're trying to like DIY book a tour. And so
wow.
if you're a member of the association, you can access that map.
That's really cool.
So yeah.
That's gonna help you. Did you get access to it?
I'm not an association member right now, but it's only like $35 a year
That'd be
if
worth
you're an
it.
artist. So yeah, if
Maybe
I'm not,
come
yeah,
summer.
not
time.
really at the point where not really at the point right
You're
now
not
where I'm trying to
booking
book a
right
tour.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I do reach that point, I mean, that's resources amazing that they
Let Dan
compiled
know
that.
about that. If you think about it, because I know he was thinking about doing a little something with some shows. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's exactly a tour or what it is, but him and old Seabass been
I'm
brewing
not.
up
No,
some
I'm not
plans.
going to
think-
tell him. We're going to make him listen to the podcast to figure it out.
We'll duct
Hey,
tape.
there's a little gem for you at the very end
you
of the
might
podcast.
want to listen to it.
Not gonna tell you what it is. But,
I'm not telling you.
oh,
Gosh, that's good, dude. Dude, good for you though.
yeah,
Like,
dude, you've done a
you ought to
lot.
be pretty proud of yourself. Like that's a lot to do in college. Like
And you're not. You
That's-
still got a semester. I mean, a semester and a couple weeks.
Yeah, semester in the summer.
Yeah.
yeah, in
Yeah.
the summer. Yeah, you're gonna do the summer thing. Have you done the summer thing yet? Classes wise,
I did with my internship. I did an online class. So
with the internship, you did an online class.
yeah, so there's like 6
Boss.
hours. No.
Wow, that's a lot. Man.
So you've done all these different things, like a lot of different things. What do you, if you're looking ahead, what are some things that you want to see, and what are some things that you expect?
I'd love to in maybe a year or two from now be in a position where like have a band that I can play with that lives in the same area, you know.
Right.
I mean, obviously I'd love to keep playing with Chloe and release some music with her, but it's definitely a different experience playing in different genres.
Yeah.
That I like to explore playing with a full band. So I love to do that, whether that's professionally, just as a hobby. I mean, it's just love music. So
Yeah, it's just something that, like, once you have that love for music,
exactly,
especially,
you
it's
just
you,
crave it.
yeah, and you can't part with it, or you'll find yourself not who you
Exactly.
are. Yeah,
So-
it's a really weird.
Like a lost
It's
puzzle
yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do that. Releasing the album
Early next year.
Early next year. So
Title of the album is
Great Smoky Love.
okay.
So that's coming.
The
What-
cover,
Which is arguably
is the-
one of the best songs I've ever heard. I'll be honest. I'm serious. Great Smoky Love. Like, after, that's one of those songs. Okay, so I've been roommates with him for a long time, and like he's been mixing.
aside
and
from the
mastering
first
all
year
this
we lived
music.
here, we've been
Yeah.
roommates.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's still then we were basically roommates because
Damn
we were,
near.
yeah. But like, you know, I hear being here where he's mixing all this stuff, and like I hear all of it repetitively too, and that's like one of the few songs I'd say besides "Put Me in the Ground" that, you know, I just never got tired of hearing ever. And I still would, like, you could put it on loop 100 times right now, and I would just like find something new that I missed, you know. And that's something, and I think that's why that you and Chloe eventually got naturally drawn together. There's just something about both of your approaches to songwriting that's similar in the sense, in the way that it's very much a story, and you very much use almost the perfect descriptors for whatever story you're telling.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really difficult for songwriters who try to approach it so commercially all the time. And that's not to say that your music isn't commercial at all, because that's false. And I feel like we're seeing an industry shift to where the consumer likes that stuff with more content, and just something it's just a story so profound. It's just like you can't help but get emotional or feel an emotion from hearing a song like that.
Straight.
And I don't know. That's something that I've seen like through Amp Rights. I've seen a lot of songs that you and Chloe have kind of brought to the table, and it blows my mind every time. And see, you even take it like a step further, because I feel like that every song you write, you don't intend it to be, this is going to be, you're not writing to write hits.
Yeah.
You're just writing to suit like whatever's coming across your brain at the time. I know, like last night at Amp Rights, you played a song that was called All My Heroes Are Dads Now.
Yep.
Yeah. See, that's just crazy. I mean,
that's good.
Give us just some of your most off the wall titles right now. Just name off some.
Is that one the other one I played last night called Midnight Christmas Eve Mass?
Yep.
There's one I've never played for anyone called Hot Girls Hanging Out with Hot Girls.
Really? I gotta
I'll
hear
play that
that.
one for you guys. But let's see, what are some other off the wall titles? There's one called
House Under Construction.
House Under Construction.
That's not totally off the wall, but it's like, still off the wall.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a weird
Raises
song
questions.
title, yeah.
Another one's called When Jesus Was a Novelist and Mom Was a Republican.
Oh my god! And the church one, what is it?
Which Church and When?
Which Church and When? See that?
That's cool.
Yeah,
They're
and that is an
thought-provoking.
amazing song. I don't know if you've played
I
that
don't
out.
think you've heard that
or
one.
played
I've
it for
never
him,
heard
but that's awesome, an amazing song. As are most of your songs. I've never.
You get a good taste on a lot of the songs because of Amp Rights.
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing I think about Amp Rights to me, is because I'm getting to hear these songs not before everybody else, but like
Pretty much.
almost
Usually, yeah.
Pretty much.
Or as they're being kind of introduced into the world,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is something
Because that's a place to
cool.
showcase them, especially when they're in like a working phase.
Yeah,
Like when you guys are still working them out.
yeah.
Definitely. Oh, something I wanted to ask you is
Shout out Amp Rights.
Yeah, created by Dusty. You ought to be proud of yourself too for that.
Absolutely.
That like, not to undermine anything else that you've done, but like that in specific is huge. Like,
But I feel like
that's huge because
Huge for so many people, too.
yeah, 100%, because that people don't have an outlet for that. Like, people don't have an outlet for their songs, and they also don't have a good place to showcase what they're working on and get a good room of people that will actually give you honest feedback that means something.
And it's not so much that they don't have outlets, it's just a whole different type of outlet. It's a very different type of outlet, and like, the song doesn't have to be finished. You don't have to have chords. It doesn't have to be a song. It could just be words that you're reading from a piece of paper.
Yeah, I'd say outlet isn't even a good word for it. It's like a good space for that stuff.
Yeah, it's just a very creative space where I encourage people to be honest, and I feel like...
And you're honest. Like, you present the whole thing as being like you're in a very vulnerable spot with when you started the whole thing in general.
And on another token, like, it's just being a part of Amp Rights and listening to those songs. I don't listen to songs the same anymore ever since I created Amp Rights. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, being a songwriter, like before Amp Rights was a thing, I was also always listening critically to songs, But when I kind of founded Amp Rights, I then had to because so to create a healthy atmosphere, whoever is leading that has to create that healthy atmosphere for it to carry on. So like, I know, since I wanted it to be a thing where songwriters could critique other songwriters, and then I just knew that I always had to have something to say. So I was listening to.
You can't just be like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I can't be like that.
I absolutely applaud you for that, because there's some
It's
songs that are played like
it's very hard.
What do I
sometimes.
say about this song? Like
Yeah.
sometimes both ends of the spectrum, really good or really bad. Like
What do you say?
yeah, and I applaud you. You always have very thoughtful comments about.
Yeah, and I think
about
I
stuff.
learned. I think I learned a lot from some of the songwriting professors on how they approach their critiques of student songs. And I know I can do it differently because I'm not coming from an instructor space, and I'm not coming from a commercial mindset.
Yeah.
Some like they are at times, which is which I don't.
It's their job.
Yeah, it's their job. They're
The
here.
song's called or the class is
It's
called
commercial songwriting. Yeah. But that's just something that I became aware of. And I remember Bobby Taylor, when I was first talking to him about like the whole, telling him that I did amp rights and stuff like that. And he actually came out to one of the first events with amp rights before, it was what it is now. But he said something that, that stuck with me a very long time. And I wouldn't say that I've taught songwriting by any means. I feel like songwriters teach songwriters to write songs just by whatever their approach is. But Bobby told me, he said, you think you know songwriting, if you're a songwriter, you think you know songwriting, but when you go to like teach songwriting or try to critique songwriting in that type of way, you learn more than you ever would have learned, because it's just typically you're thinking about things that you wouldn't usually think about.
Because you have to be able to explain it. You have to be able to like say why something's good, why something's not good, or have like a justification for whatever comment you have.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, because like I have a hard time thinking about like that. I'm like, I don't like that song because I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then that's not productive for anyone. That doesn't encourage growth of the songwriter or anything. They don't know, like, they just go away from that feeling defeated, not like, here's something I need to work on. So.
And there's also a lot of things to just to go to show like how deep sometimes you may have to dig. Like there's a lot of elements, especially of young songwriters and just songwriters in general, because not all songwriters are artists, and not all songwriters intend to be artists. But sometimes when you're listening to a song, it could be a great song, but if they're not the greatest vocalist, a lot of times you can, if you're focusing on the wrong thing, you can lose
it on that.
You can lose what the song is actually about. And I had a conversation. There was a guest last night at Amp Rights. She came in from Chicago. It was Anthony's friend, and she was kind of asking me about a certain individual, and she was like, how did you even say anything? Like how, because being just a consumer, they don't understand the nature of songwriters or the nature of songwriting.
Right. It's almost like what Austin said. Like, it's like, I just don't like the song, or I like the song. Like, I don't have.
And that's very much
for
where she's coming from. And I kind of just laid it out for her that, like, as far as songwriting goes, there's so much more to it than how it sounds or how it's played.
Which is very, almost to anyone that has no idea about songwriting, it's ass backwards.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what do you mean
much.
it doesn't, like, you're not focused on how it sounds or how it was written.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point. But not really. Like, that's very cool. That's a crazy way to think about it.
But
like, hell, I can't even justify half the songs I like. I don't know, like, some of the stuff I was playing when we were setting up, you guys are like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, trust me, I don't know why I like some of the stuff that I like. I listen to weird shit anyway. But another thing I wanted to ask you, what did I already ask you this? What is the cover for Great Smoky Love?
Oh yeah,
gonna be the cover of the album or the single?
I'm probably not gonna put it out as a single.
Okay.
So
I think that's
album artwork is so fucking cool.
So
do you have? Okay, I'm trying to like not give away exactly,
vague.
but do you have the physical copy of it?
no, she's not done with it yet.
No, like, will you have a like?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It's so cool.
I'm excited.
It's a
to see
very
it.
unique way to do an album artwork. I'm excited about it.
And we also just got a little sneak peek at the Holy Love cover art. I mean, I'm not obviously not giving any details, but it's pretty cool. Pay attention to detail when you guys see it.
Yep. Dusty, anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Or Austin?
We didn't really get into my sexual awakening.
We can explore that. We can explore that as deep as you want to.
Bro, I was so caught off guard.
And with that,
okay, I guess we're coming to an end. I will ask.
Dude, thanks for coming.
I do have one more thing
yeah,
that I
he's
want
got
to
one more
ask.
question.
I
Shut
wanna
up.
give you a
Shut-
5, dude.
If you had,
or a 4.
if you had anything you could tell. Okay, I'll just do it this way. If you had anything that you could tell anyone, alive or dead, what would it be?
That's a hell of a question.
Do I have to pick who the person is?
Can.
Yeah, you can. Or it could be like
Or is this just
a crowd,
or is this just my advice?
that would work great as well. Any way you choose to answer this will be correct.
Okay, let me think. Can we get some Jeopardy music going, guys?
Dun, 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 dun,
Money.
dun, 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 dun.
Young Gravy on the track.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna prep the next song coming up.
Okay. I think good advice. I had the opportunity to hear Linda Perry speak over the summer. I think I was
Okay.
telling you about that. She's the one who sings, "So I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed."
Yeah.
That one.
Me too.
But she was just talking about like, just like the importance of when you go into songwriting, just like make like not like limiting yourself, like even if you think it's a stupid song, just like write it. Because she said with that song, which went on to be like a platinum selling hit, she was like, I was like, no one's gonna ever like this song.
Right.
I'm just saying what's going on is like the chorus. So I guess she said you if you put a limitation on what you create, you could be holding something back that's gonna be huge or change the world. Yeah, or a bunch of people are gonna identify with. So I guess just never really put limitations on your creation, and never stop giving new stuff to the world.
Well, I think that's awesome. Who'd you, Linda Perry?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. But is there anything else that you would want to leave us with?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork. Woo!
All this stuff I've done, couldn't do it without my friends. So
I just want to say thanks again for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for
dude.
having
Had
me,
a great-
guys. This is
great
absolute
talk.
blast.
Which song would you like to play? Holy Love
give
or
us-
The Graduate?
Yeah, give him some Holy Love.
Holy.
Any intro on that?
Oh yeah.
No, as far as
Vocal intro.
Yeah, no. Dun, dun, dun. This song is. I honestly don't remember when I wrote this. I like remember when it was, but I don't remember like the session itself of writing it. But it's just kind of about just pondering and dealing with kind of a sort of love that you regard as like unattainable or that you're not worthy of, whether that's in a romantic partner or like religious sort of love. It's just kind of a song of self-reflection. So
Sweet. Holy Love. Drumming Bird.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, your mama always worried, and she passed it on to you. You're born in the South with the taste in your mouth of Pacific Ocean blue. You were always something special. I could hear it when you sang. But the way that you paused between your words when you called had a different kind of sting. Was I not enough? For your holy love? But the scars sliced. My soul will be yours soon. I'm growing up. Well, I always love the present, and you love the memory. The future's near, and as long as you're here, I'll love as much as you'll give me. If I slept well in the jungle, I would drown into the sea, and float to the sand with my hand in your hand, and the love I kept for me. Not enough for your holy love, but the scars of life. My soul will be yours soon. I'm growing up. Soon I'm growing up. So be yours soon. I'm growing up. So be yours soon. I'm growing up.